Heard you a snitch, nigga be quiet cause you could get bitch. I keep a chopper, it's loaded. Hop with the rolls, got my name on the curtain. Fucking your thought and I do that for certain. And I stay clean like detergent. Popping on Xannies and popping on Perk. Burn up on me, you get cut like a turkey. I just want this bitch inside of Billy. I'm open no roof, got stars up on the roof. So my freedom.
Hello everybody. It's been a while since I did this one. So, here we go. We last left off with Deku getting a ship, and not gonna lie to you, he got back to where he was from. He wanted to go to see if he could find a bigger war party. Find some more lads, some more gits that are just more crumpin'. So, he didn't know where he was warping to, but he know he warped somewhere far, because Lord have fucking mercy, it took like 60 zoggin days for them to get to where they needed to be. But when we got there, oh boy, there was lots of crumping to be had. 'Cause we didn't go to no fucking pussy little outpost land. Nah, we went to a human nest. That's right, boys. We hid in a hive city. So, as Izuku just warped into orbit with his big ass ship, what ended up happening was, not immediately, but very close to immediately, them not being discovered, because the ship is purple. And we sneaky. Have you ever seen a purple orc? No, exactly. So, once they began moving, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. When Izuku began and was, well, he didn't really begin with the best way to do it. What he did was sneak as close to a station as he could, opened up a broadside on it, which that broadside was not like ammunition, like regular munitions, nah. He was firing like nets of fucking orcs. I'm not gonna lie to you, because we can survive anything with orcs. We don't need to breathe. But so what ended up happening was, so in all reality, Izuku just kind of launched like actual people through the vacuum of space. And for people who know orcs, as long as the biggest one says, "Oh yeah, no, well, you'll be fine. You're basically gonna be okay." Like I don't know about you, but like when it comes down to like specific like bad docs and mad docs within the orc hierarchy, that's basically how it is. Because the mad docs, their doctors, will say, "Oh, you'll be right as rain," and they'll usually survive. Unless they're getting experimented on. In that case, that's kind of, that shit's scary. But, specifically, Deku, when he fired off a good majority of his crew, I'm not gonna lie to you, there was a lot of people on that, like, little broadside that he just kind of sent flying towards the engines of the station that kept it stable around orbit. What ended up happening was kind of terrifying. What happened was, most, if not all of the orcs hit, the station because he was basically able to get right up next to it because we's purple and fired a broadside. After the people were fired, they knew that, oh shit, they're near this station. Red alert. But like it was kind of too late because they immediately began doing a boarding action. So like that and like all of the orc fighter bombers and all the crazy shit that orcs have just started kind of peeling out from their places. And I'm gonna say there was like a single light cruiser ready to defend them. They weren't expecting orcs this far out. Okay? They weren't. They just weren't. They have no reason to expect them. Nids? Maybe. Orcs? No. Like, so what ended up happening was a big ass level of fuck you cannon. Because what ended up happening was after like the broadside and the boarding action of the station, the fighter bombers began to just bombard the entirety of that light cruiser. Granted, they were made to take out fighters, but they weren't made to take out like, oh, I don't know, like a couple thousand fighters from one ship. Like, they weren't expecting that level of, oh dear God, no. Because this is a WA. They don't stop. They're the good boys. They don't stay down easy. But what ended up happening was like after most, if not like 90% of Izuku's troops got on the station, they began to break the engines that was keeping it in orbit. Which, granted, is still going to be in orbit. It's just not going to be as stable. But what they ended up doing was making like engines on the other side of it to send it back into the ground. So like back onto the planet. Which they don't know about completely. Like, I don't know. They didn't know what the fuck it was. So it was like, okay, big metal shiny thing in middle of space, fucking slam it into the fucking planet. Like, so like there were like a couple thousand orcs on that bitch when it was going down towards the planet. And I'm not gonna lie to you, that light cruiser didn't stand a fucking chance because like all of the orcs that were in the fighter bombers just blew up the warp engines. Which means they couldn't jettison their ass into the warp. So, they're fucked. Now, when it comes down to the what's left of that little baby ship there, another boarding action occurred. They were able to hold off the orcs for a small time just to buy time for the people downstairs. But like they didn't know about the station being taken over yet. They were thinking, oh yes, good, they repelled them. No, not in the fucking slightest. But after the ship went down, we could all assume what happened then. They were so like, yes, bigger, not more, just bigger ship. So like, Izuku slammed like the side of his ship, which was the size of two like cruisers, basically making a stupidly like wide ship. But like, Lord have mercy. Like, that ship is armored have fun. Have fun dealing with that. But, they don't really have purple paint at the moment, so, like, we's kinda exposed, but if we turn it to the opposite side, we should be fine. Like, that is basically the mentality. So, like, after the engines on the station were basically flipped around to send them jettisoning into the Hive City, oh dear God, it was just bad. I don't know what else I could tell you, because that station flew down, collided with some of the tallest towers in the Hive City. We all know how far those fuckers go up. Those things damn near breach orbit. But, I mean, not orbit, but, where oxygen is, like, allowed to be on planets. That's how far those towers go up. So, like, imagine if, like, oh, I don't know, something about twice that, well, not twice that size, but something pretty substantial slams down directly on it. That's gonna cause some fucking chaos. So now, granted, they didn't have really anything to worry about until they started seeing and hearing the screams of the people. Like, because the people in the, like, the lowest hives were fine. But people in the mid-hive and the high hive are all dead. Like, there wasn't really that much of a fight in that first hive city. But there were 6 on the planet. So, and he killed the planetary governor with that. So, when Izuku kind of was able to finally fucking, like, land his ship, he basically had a hive city. And we all know what happens when orcs get hive cities. It's a new town, lads. Like, so what ended up happening was they fortified the hive city even fucking more and turned it into a damn fortress. Now, luckily, they were able to ask for assistance. And they didn't find any good assistance, but they found some. Too bad it wasn't the good assistance. Because I rolled to see if they would get, like, a regiment of people that I made from a very, like, well, there was a D&D game. Well, not D&D-esque, it was basically a 40k game where, God, I think it was first Frontline, some shit? I don't know, but it's where you can make your own regiments and shit. And I made 4 regiments, one of them being the fucking Krieg regiment, and we all know how fucking crazy the Kriegers are. Sadly, they got the worst one. They got the ones that know how to dig a trench. And build a bunker. But that's going to take some damn time for them to get there. So what ended up happening was, in that time lapse of them getting there, 2 more hive cities fallen, leaving 3 on the planet. Oh fuck. And their numbers have grown fucking manically. And I'm specifically talking about the orcs on the planet. Because, dear God, they already have anti-air on all 3 of the hive cities that they own, and nothing's getting past them. Like, they're basically knocking on the door of all 3 hive cities when the regiment gets there. They're immediately, like, thinking, well, I wish we had a couple more ships, because it would be so much easier for exterminatus. Honest, but we aren't allowed, so yikes. Unknowing to them, the moon of that planet was also being used as an ORK listening outpost, which as soon as they showed up, the big ship went to the opposite side of the planet which they were on and just like turned, because at that point I'm gonna say it was like a year in game. I mean, like in time, it was like year and a half. I'm gonna say they found like some like purple food paste that they were able to slather on that side of the ship. Oh well, we're sneaky now, boys. That's basically it. So what they ended up doing was kind of go to the far rim of that sector and just kind of wait for when those ships like start like having their pants down. During that, like, granted, Izuku is still on world, but like he basically still knows what's going on the ship. And I'm not gonna lie to you, Izuku has gotten upgrades, people. Like, and I'm not talking about like, oh, he stopped growing. No, dog, nah. I'm talking he like grew because the biggest is the boss. And adrenaline makes orcs bigger, or at least makes them grow. So what ends up happening is pretty interesting, because as like they attempt to fortify the defenses of the planet and its last 3 hive cities, all of them low on food, water, and ammo. Fuck. Like, because they're not focusing behind them because they didn't sense any orc ships around them, so alright, it's fine. So I'm gonna say this regiment didn't have a lot of ships specifically. I'm not saying that this was an extremely large regiment. Like I said, this was a small. They got the worst one. So what ended up happening was the orcs just basically kind of snuck up behind all the ships, just right next to the flagship. Which, it wasn't in the middle, it was near, like, it was further away than the others, because it was like, there ain't no orc ships. Just stay away from the planet in case they get, like, some sort of fucking, oh, we could shoot you from the planet's surface gun. Like, that kind of thing. So what ended up happening was pretty self-explanatory. Instead of doing anything dramatic, this time what they were told to do is like shoot a rope with a magnet from underneath the ship onto theirs. Oh. And basically just like send some tech boys and some shooter boys to go and deal with that shit. That and a fuck ton of Gretchen. So what ended up happening was, like, slowly but surely the engine started to fail on the ship without them knowing, because they're not going to start moving yet. Because granted, there are still like 12 ships. Other ships like in the sector, but like it's still going to take some time for them to get in range. Because they're not going to be in range yet. So like, what ended up happening was the tech boys figured out where the where all the boys are at in there, all the Yumis and their boss. So what ended up happening was like basically above the captain's seat, like a hole appeared here and sucked out the navigator, the psyker, fucking everybody in there. And those who didn't get sucked out got shot with shooters, got shot with sluggers. Like they just, yep. Here we go, boys. Like, that is the level of, we don't care right now. So like as that part of the ship was vented, alarms went off. But the worst thing is they didn't have a psyker anymore. Their like team of psychers that was like telling people, hey, what to do, orders of your commander, all that shit. All of that stopped. So yeah, they sneakily killed the commander of that regiment. And I'm gonna end this here. I hope all of you have enjoyed. This is a pre-recorded thing, so hey, I'ma sleep my ass off for the next couple days. Probably the next 2. But yeah, hope all of you have a lovely one. And cheers. Wait. Nah, yeah, fuck it. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends and family. All that cringy shit. Yeah. Now, goodbye.